ahead and call the October meeting call to order. John, if you will give us a word of prayer.
Oh, please pray with me. Dear Lord, we thank you for this beautiful afternoon that you blessed us with. Lord, we thank you for this organization that you put us in charge of. Lord, we ask that the decisions we make this afternoon are pleasing in your sight. In his name we pray. Amen.
I want to welcome Ira Beatonball to the CPW.
Thank you.
I've known Ira for about 30 years. He taught me Accounting 101. I barely passed. Welcome.
Thank you.
Look forward. You and Parker only served for 20-something years, so you have big shoes to fill.
Never got real big shoes to fill.
Exactly.
You're right.
But welcome to the board.
Thank you.
All right.
We've got to do an oath, though.
Yeah. Who's going to do that? Where's our attorney?
He is out.
Okay.
He's some kind of judges conference.
Okay.
So,
We'll let him pass then.
okay.
You come over there. Stand here.
You can do long distance. I think it still takes. Oh, she wants a photo, though.
We want a photo op, so y'all are going to have to get closer.
No pictures, please.
Got to keep the media happy.
You're up.
You get a photo of Mom?
Ready to raise our right hand?
Yes.
Okay.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I am duly qualified,
that I am duly qualified,
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the Constitution of this state,
to exercise the duties of the office
to exercise the duties of the office
to which I have been appointed,
to which I've been appointed,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
and preserve,
and
protect,
and
defend the Constitution of this state
defend the Constitution of this state
and the United States.
and the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay. If everybody will look at the minutes, hopefully you've already read them, for our September 8th meeting and our 29th call meeting. Do we have any corrections or additions to those minutes? If not, do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, raise your right hand.
September meeting. We do one for each.
Okay, we'll
Motion and a second.
We'll do a motion for each. All right, do I have a motion to approve our minutes for our call meeting on September the 29th?
I so move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous. Keith's going to do our September divisional report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the Water Division and Sewer Division, the West Main Water Project is progressing well and it's on time. If you've been by there, you can probably see the pedestal to the new water tank is complete and waiting for the crew to come put the bowl on top. The Lake Raven pumps that we talked about in previous meetings that we were afraid were going to need to be replaced. They were sent to Charles Underwood in Sanford, North Carolina, and he's confident that they can rebuild those pumps. So that was good news on that. The aqueous film forming foam products liability litigation, we received the first installment from that. And then in the natural gas division, I wanted to remind anybody that wanted to come about the public awareness meeting. That's next Wednesday at 7 a.m. of next week. And they'll have a presentation and breakfast at that. The contractors have completed the installation of the bare steel service lines in the Clemson Street division as part of the 22 natural gas grant. They're also working on Sherwood Drive, and they've also replaced some of the steel lines in the Home Street area. And you may have seen the what we call the Bull Hill project up Highway 14 there, where we were lowering a gas line that in the past there was a bank on the side of the road, and they've cut that bank down a number of years ago, and that left those gas lines without much cover over it. That project's been completed, as well as the Fox Bank subdivision in Gray Court. We're waiting for them to start building and start installing taps up there. The ORS came back to review some of the things that they found in their inspection earlier in the summer, and that went well. In the electrical division, the Housing Authority on Church Street, there across from Ace Hardware, we pulled primary wire in and installed a pad mount transformer for their renovation. New regulators were installed on the East Main Circuit in the Mill Street substation. Electrical services were installed for the new water tower that we just talked about. And the infrared scanning that we do annually was performed as well. In the administrative division, the service techs are having to do significantly higher number of locates due to the PRTC fiber project. And the FEMA projects are still under congressional review and review by the Department of Homeland Security, as we had mentioned in the past. And also there was a flu shot clinic last week as part of the administrative division. That's our reports for this month. Does anybody have any questions?
How big is that Fox Bank? How many houses?
There's going to be about 250 houses there.
All going to have gas water heaters, gas heat, and one appliance, right?
Yep.
So our deadline for the water tower is, it's 2026, but June of 20. Do you think we might beat that by, what's our estimation on possibly being going live with that?
I talked to Will this morning, and the next thing is the steel people come in and they construct the bowl of the tank itself. And he said he's been told that goes pretty quickly. So,
Okay.
But you know they've got that massive crane. I don't think I've ever seen a crane as big as what they got over there. But they've got the crane sitting there. I think all they're waiting on is delivering the steel, and then they weld it all up.
And then they raise it.
Lift it up, and
we're getting pretty close to tying in, aren't we?
the pipe itself that connects it to the system is in place, and They
How
tested
close
all-
are we tying into to the line on West Main? It looks like we're getting pretty close.
It's done, yeah.
Oh, is it done?
Yeah, it's done.
See, I was out of town for a week, things happen.
I'll clarify that June 30th, we have to receive all the federal funds. Construction does not technically have to be complete.
But I sign one of those pay authorizations about once a week, so.
We're drawing down about $1 million a month from those federal funds. So
You think maybe first quarter of 2026 it might go live?
It'd be that early.
Okay, I mean optimistic.
We still got a bit of work to do in the,
Have to paint the inside and the outside, and that, that's, that takes some
Like
time.
building a house, it slows down at the end. So Ira, we got a large grant, was it about 10 million?
10.5.
10.5 to replace our water tank on West Main Street. The one that's West Main and Pamela. It's right behind that one house. So we're building a new water tank out there on Dean Drive. That water tank on West Main will be I guess it will be brought down after the other one is up and running. We have to be complete by the end of second quarter of 2026. So hopefully our water pressure is gonna get better.
How do you climb that thing? From the outside or inside?
It's just gonna have a ladder inside.
Okay, does any other questions for Keith on our divisional reports?
What's the price of natural gas looking like for winters?
it's down a little bit this month, and it's gonna be kind of weather dependent. It should be about the same as last year unless we get real cold weather or something.
Okay. Blake, you have our financials for August?
I do. Just want to mention that we're still working closely with our public assistance consultant and FEMA. All of our projects are obligated, as Keith said, they're either under congressional review. We really don't know what that means on the timeline as to when we're going to get the money, but it should be very soon.
Why don't you give Ira just a 30-second update on that?
Yeah, there's 4 or 5, I think we submitted actually 6 projects to FEMA, and that's gonna be for debris removal, all of the mutual aid that came in and helped us, and they're all categorized differently. So all those projects, most of them were over $1 million, so they're considered a large project. We had a PA, public assistant consultant that's been helping us with that. We don't deal with a lot of hurricanes in the upstate, so not something we're used to dealing with FEMA. But they have worked vigorously to get us where we are today. I did speak with a friend of mine who's in another municipal utility, and they have started getting some money, and their projects were obligated not too long ago. So I think we're real close. We're at the $5 to $6 million mark is what the impact was to CPW for recovery from Hurricane Helene. I will jump into the August 31 financials. We'll start on page 6 and just look at the profit and loss. This year looks a lot different because we are receiving so much grant revenue that we aren't typically receiving. So in the electric division, the gain there was $668,697, but we did recognize $520,000 in grant revenue. That was a combination of the Department of Energy and then $500,000 from the Hunter Industrial Park Fund. And that was for the line extension that was approved to get the new spec building in operation over at Hunter Park.
To recoup the cost for that.
In the gas division, a loss of $130,245. The water division, $877,211. Again, we received $865,000 in grant revenue in the water division.
We're not doing good without our grants.
And then the sewer division, a gain of $12,447. Still doing what it always does, pretty much breaking even. I want to call your attention to the capital asset budget on page 11. We did close out several of our large construction in progress accounts down at the bottom this past month, so you'll see some larger numbers, such as in the electric division of $1.2 million. That was a construction, probably a combination of things like Gibson Grove, larger projects that we have completed and we're able to go ahead and capitalize. Right now it looks like we're over budget, $435,000 or 11% on our capital accounts. But as I mentioned, a lot of those things were construction in progress and have just been capitalized because the projects are complete. In our O&M and G&A budget, there's several key items that I've mentioned throughout the year, such as the natural gas, transportation, and purchase expense. Also, our line 6,500 is still what we've been paying from the hurricane from last year. So we received invoices still into this year for debris removal and vegetation management, and also some mutual aid. So about $500,000 that's unbudgeted. But we will have a nice line on the income statement when we do receive funds from FEMA to recoup the cost. So for the month, we were over budget $174,000, or 7.2%, and $2 million at 10% year to date. But no major concerns about the budget.
So Ira, if you look down on the bottom of page 11, you see down there, there's the substation. We built a new substation out near Hunter Industrial Park, and it's ready. We're just waiting on PMPA is required to run the line, the Duke line, to our substation, and it won't go live until they bring the Duke line to that substation. So where are we with that? Right away?
Everything has been cleared, all the trees have been removed, and the path is there.
And they've got to build a bridge.
They've got to build a bridge, they've got to put a culvert in. Well, the first thing they've got to do, or the next thing they've got to do, is do the soil boring, where they determine, what the soil's like, so Bob Thomas can order the correct poles for that particular soil. There's all kind of factors that can go into it.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, and this project, I've been involved with some transmission projects over the years, and this has been one of the most frustrating, I think, we've ever had to do. It is what it is. So. And, like you said, because PMPA is our wholesale power supplier, they're responsible for getting the transmission line. We had to build a substation, but they're responsible for getting the transmission line to us. Now, we've been working with them, and we helped them get right of way and all of that. It's just like every time we turn around, there's like a holdup on something. The Corps of Engineers has to get involved because there's wetlands in there, and it's just a mess.
Where's the power direction? Where's it coming from? Is it coming from?
Off of Stagecoach Road.
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming off of behind Jostens is where we tap the transmission line. It's the transmission line that you see cross up there towards Barksdale, and it runs across the Ranch Road and then over to our substation on Mill Street. And we tapped it there behind Jostens, and it runs cross country for about 9,000 feet, almost 2 miles to Highway 221 there.
Okay.
So we had to clear 2 miles of forest, 75 feet wide, and there's still a few trees and all that look like we're going to have to get them to come back and clear. Robbie and I were out there this morning, and they've gotten some soil borings, but there's one section that they were having trouble getting to that John was mentioning. They had to put in some culverts, and they put in one section, but it looks like that section is not going to be enough ongoing for line trucks and all that to get through there. So we got to talk to them about that, about maybe putting another section of pipe in. And but I think they can probably get there and get the soil borings, but there was, something else they had to do, I can't remember what it was. That may be holding them up, but they should be doing that any time now, I would think, and finish that off, and then Bob can get the poles ordered.
If we get that done by the end of the first quarter of next year, I'd be surprised, but. Because once we get the soil borings and figure out what kind of soil's there, then he's got to order the poles and the bases, and that may be 30 weeks, something like that. So, who knows?
So do you think we will be up and live by the end of 2026?
We should be.
I hope so.
It's a slow process.
It's a good thing we don't need it right now. We're very close to capacity for the park itself. And, you know, Bravo is getting ready to add, is it 1 megawatt or 2?
2, I think.
2 megawatts, and then, you know, there's a great big nice building there, and as soon as somebody takes that over, they're gonna want power, and so we're gonna be real close, so. We'll get there.
Nobody still bought the big building. The big building's still available.
It is, yeah.
Does anybody have any questions on checks over 3,000?
Also had her put a new vendor list at the back of this. I'll just, maybe once a quarter or so, we'll look.
So I see on here we have the new bucket truck for 203,000. Have we taken possession of that yet? Okay. And then the vacuum truck that we purchased from Newberry, have we used it yet? Did we get a limit?
Have we used it? I don't know.
They have used it for some things.
I think the guys are very happy with it. You know, it's something that going back to Dennis Satterfield days, he would put one in the budget every year, and every year we'd kick it out.
A new one is
Yeah, a
what?
brand new one.
700,000.
700,000? There's a good reason.
It's a big old shop vac on the back of a truck.
30,000 sounds a lot better than 700.
Thanks to our good friends with the city of Newberry.
Good friends in Newberry.
When is the planning meeting?
23rd of October.
Christmas parties?
I don't know the date of that, do you?
December 12th.
I think that's right.
Yes, December.
I'll get Krista to send out all the dates for y'all.
I don't want to put on the calendar. I didn't want to get too many events in one day.
All right. Are there any other questions for Blake on the financials? If not, do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second, all in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous. Okay, we have Mary Lynn here from C4 Ministries to give us an update.
Okay, all right. I call you all every year. I call the commission every year and get John and Blake, try to get them to play golf, which they say they don't play. So every year I ask to support or sponsor a team. So this past time when I called to ask about sponsorship and playing golf, I said, well, let me come and talk with you about some of our needs. C4 Ministries, which originally opened this door 5 years ago, is Family Promise. We disaffiliated with the national organization due to some conflicts about the definition of homelessness and how they were running programs, and we could not run our program the same way they could. So we disaffiliated and we became C4. And C4 stands for, there are 4 C's: Christ-centered, crisis, care, and counsel. And that's what we do with families. We help families in times of crisis. Our whole definition is to help families in crisis that are suffering from inadequate housing, or they're about to be evicted, or they're homeless, okay? So our number 1 effort is sheltering families that are homeless. That's our number 1 effort. We do that by placing families in churches where we shelter them for a number of weeks until we are able to find them housing. We serve about 117 individual families a year in some area of services, whether it's through homelessness, whether it's through rental, what we call eviction prevention, which means helping people to prevent from being evicted by helping to pay their rent for a period of time or one time, and by providing them assistance. So what I'm here today to talk about is our need for providing utility assistance to some of our families who are CPW clients who are in public housing. And Ms. Craig will be very familiar with this, or knows more about it than I do, but they're in public housing, and if they are unable to keep their utilities running and in service, they can be evicted in cases where they're not able to. So what we find sometimes is it's not an inability to pay the rent. Sometimes it's inability to pay a utility bill, which puts them in jeopardy of potentially being evicted. So this past year, I did a little survey to see how many times I walked across the street or our staff walked across the street to pay CPW. And I think I told you $4,100 and some odd dollars, but I think it was $397 something. I have a tendency sometimes to exaggerate. So it was close. Somewhere in the neighborhood of about pretty close to $4,000 we spent on utility assistance last year with CPW specifically for clients that were in situations. Now, one of the things I want to tell you this, we have a lot of requests for services. Today, we received 26 calls for assistance, just today. We average 17 calls, requests for assistance for rent or utilities or some kind of service every day. 17 calls we average. We can't meet the needs of those. We are a faith-based organization that relies largely upon churches and sponsorship. And you talk about grants. We were very, very fortunate to get COVID relief grants in the first 2 years of operation. And we were fortunate to get some relief from the hurricane for families that were struggling. But we do not rely on federal or state grants. So as a result of that, that grant money has dried up. This year, I like to function on a $200,000 a year budget. This year, I'm functioning on something like a $75,000 budget. So we will assist fewer families this year than ever before. Well, let me tell you what that's related to. That's primarily related to the fact that when I came here 4 years ago, or when we opened our doors 5 years ago, the average request for rental assistance was $420 to $620. Right now, the average request for rental assistance is $800 to $1,200. That's the average request that families give us. So that has more than tripled in some cases. For families that we have in shelter, the churches were providing $65 a week for groceries to help feed some of our families that were in shelter. Now that same bill is $220 to feed those families. So it has tripled. And so because of that, we're reducing the number of families that we can serve. But what I'm here today to talk about is that I think through Baptist Crisis Center, I think in other entities, you all have provided some funding through Baptist Crisis Center. And oftentimes we refer families, if we don't have funding for utility, we refer them to United Ministries in Clinton, primarily first. We provide them to the Lawrence Baptist Crisis Association. We refer them to Gleams. We have recently partnered with First Methodist Church, and we have taken on some of their funding for utility assistance by doing their applications. So we do the applications for First Methodist, try to screen people for First Methodist, and then First Methodist actually pays their utilities based on our screening. So we've partnered with them a little bit on some of that with the Methodist Church just probably in the last 90 days to try to partner with them because they had so many requests for assistance. Their staff, their secretarial staff at the church was just overwhelmed. First Presbyterian Church does the same thing, but they give us funding, and so when someone comes to their door for a request, they usually send them to us. So I kind of went around that, but I just wanted to let you know that we are being supported by other ministries, and there are other places to get utility assistance. But I am requesting assistance, some type of funding, where that we can help families. I am requesting a $5,000 annual request from CPW to help us in funding those families most in need, okay? based on what our average was. I said 4, but it's 397 or something like that we spent this past year. But based on that, any money that you give us will actually come right back to you. That was always my seller with the golf tournament. You give me $500, I promise within the next 30 days you'll get that $500 back simply because of the need. Now let me tell you how we are much different than maybe Baptist Crisis Center or other places. Oftentimes, Baptist Crisis Center will have a client and they will call CPW and they'll pledge a certain amount toward their utility bill. You with me? So if somebody owes $250 or something, the Baptist Crisis Center will pledge $150 toward that. And I think at the end of the quarter or the end of the month or whatever, you all know how much they're going to get, and then you send them a check or however that works. You know, and it's worked that way. For us, it's going to have to be a little bit different. And let me tell you, because we're addressing not just utility assistance, we're addressing potential eviction. So those power bills have to be paid. You with me? We can't give $100 out to someone toward your power bill and them not able to pay the remaining $100 left on their power bill and they get evicted. I've just thrown away $100 and they're still homeless. With me? So not only that, I've got to, I've not helped them to prevent from being evicted. So in most cases, we have to pay the full amount that's owed on the utility bill when a family with children is unable to pay that amount. Now, oftentimes what we do when someone comes in our door is myself or the case manager sit down and figure out, can you share with me a way that you can put some money toward that utility bill? And they'll say, oh yeah, I've got $50, I got $100. We'll have them come over here to the commission, pay their $100 or $50, and then come back with us about what the balance is. Do you with me? And then we in turn come and pay the remainder balance. Because we're not there just as a handout, we're there for a hand up, to help people to step up and to be able to meet the needs of their family. Just today, just to give you an idea of what that looks like on a day-to-day basis, we walked across the street and paid a utility bill for about $300 for a family with 2 children. One child's at Ford, one's at E.B. Morse. The special needs child is at E.B. Morse because she has special needs. Her utility bill was scheduled to be cut off by the end of this week, Thursday or Friday. I don't recall exactly what the date was. And she needs her children's medicine to be refrigerated, and she has a child on a breathing machine, a breathing apparatus. So in those cases, that's primary over someone else. Does that make sense? If you come in and said you don't have the money because you loaned it to a friend next door to buy lottery tickets, that's probably not going to make the cut. So just to let you know, we're screening those people. It's not just like we have utility. And oftentimes we'll call complexes and say, tell me a little bit about, or we'll call United Ministries to see how many times they've been assisted in the past so we can address those needs. So we have a need this year greater than ever to assist a number of families. I am more than welcome to give you back the number of people we serve based on that, how many children were involved, how many families were involved, so that you can use that data to kind of know exactly how many that served. Not too long ago, I don't remember, with the county was giving out grants or something. I think I got $5,000 of grants or whatever. And we served something like 214 families with that $5,000. People were shocked how many people we could serve. Well, that's how we work. So we're very frugal about the ways that we can provide ministry to those people. So that's my request. A request for a tangible amount of money through CPW specifically that we can utilize to help our families in need. I gave you some data so you could read later about our center and more information.
I have a question.
Okay.
How often do you take on repeats? Do they come once a year, twice?
This is what people always ask, how many times can I come to you for services? And we always say we don't have a guideline because what we want to hear is your individual story. We have some places who say they'll help 1 time a year. We have some places that help 3 times a year. Well, this particular lady that we paid the utility bill for now, we hadn't paid her bill, but we paid it 6 months ago, okay? But she also her child was hospitalized during a period of time where she couldn't work, and all that made sense. Does that make sense? So if that happened, and that was an incident that happened, I can't say I'm going to help you every other month. Now, I will tell you this, I'm not gonna help you multiple months in a row. What we do then is we bring you in and do a financial review of where your money's going, how much you're making, how much, what are you doing, prioritize. We go through a little spiel. And as a matter of fact, not long ago, someone said, I met a client of y'all's at a gas station, and it was one of our board members, and they said something about somebody needs to help me with my utility bill. And they said, well, why don't you call C4 Ministries? And they said, I've already called them, and they too much up in your business, so I don't want to, I don't want to work with them anymore. Well, that's what we do. We are up in your business. So sometimes, but we don't say how many times we can help you. We started one time saying we're going to help once a year. Well, January, everybody calls back. You know what I mean? If you helped them, within just a new year. So we just decided we were going to take every case individually and review it individually. We generally do not assist, though, months back to back. So if I helped you in January, I'm probably not going to help you in February. But if you came and said you helped me in January, but my child was in the hospital, or I was in the hospital 3 weeks and was out of work and couldn't do anything, and I confirm all that, then I might help you 2 months in a row. I just won't say, because I'm not going to.
What percentage of I know your primary is homelessness, and you're trying to get those people back on your feet. And in this program, you're trying to keep them from becoming homeless.
Right.
What percentage of your budget would you say you're using for this to keep them from getting?
80%.
Okay.
And 20% for our shelter.
Okay. So this is
About 80-20. Yeah. So this is the biggest part, because our goal is to try to keep you in your home so that you're not homeless. We have to take you in. The last 2 families we had in shelter at the end of last year cost us $12,000 to place back into a home. And people say, well, how could it cost you that much money? People that are homeless don't come to you with no evictions and no history of anything. You know what I mean? They don't come to you with a clear billing history, So when we get ready to place them in a home and we found them a home, past evictions have to be cleared and taken care of. So if they walked out of a place they owed $1,000, that $1,000 got to be paid. Also, when we come over here and their credit is lousy, we've got to pay a larger fee to get their power turned on. And that makes sense because they don't have good history with paying their utility bill. Thus they were homeless. So all that's taken in consideration. So right now we are trying to do something we call shelter diversion. So if someone calls us, like 2 weeks ago, someone called and they're living with parents, and the parents said they could stay for 90 days, we start working on trying to find them housing really quick, and we help the parents pay the utility bill or help the parents pay their rent and let them stay there for 90 days to prevent the children from having to be uprooted and brought into shelter. And that's diverting them from coming in shelter. So the main things we're paying for are utility bills for so that they aren't evicted, so they can pay their bill. But the second part is for those families that are homeless is paying the deposit here to get their utilities cut on. And I want to tell you this. We walk across the street almost every day, and you have the best front desk staff of anybody. They help us. They answer questions. The girls in the office, they are incredible, and never have any problem with doing anything. Even sometimes when I've got half a number and a half of something, they can look something up and find it for me. So I don't have enough but good things to say about how wonderful CPW staff has been to us.
I want to thank you for all that you do for the people of Lawrence County.
Thank you.
As a board, we're going to take your request under recommendation and get back to you.
Okay, all right. That sounds good.
I saw on the TV where Pickens was fixing to get evicted of ours. They wanted $425 for the building, and they dropped it to $350, and somebody helped them buy it.
Yep.
They can take care of 60 people.
Yep, and that's a lot of people. Yep.
Thank you.
If there's nothing more, I'm going to sneak out.
We'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, we're to our public forum session. session, and I don't believe we have any public, so we'll be skipping that. And next, do I have a motion that we go to executive session?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
That's a comfort, man.